Greetings, Celtics fans. In today's video, I've got some major updates about the Boston Celtics, and more specifically, about the one and only Jason Tatum. If you're a true Celtics fan, you're going to want to hear this one. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything about the Green Team. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's dive right in. It was a solid win for the Boston Celtics in Game 1 of their opening round playoff series against the Orlando Magic. But there's a significant concern that has come up, and that concern is surrounding Jason Tatum. Now, we all know that Tatum is the heart and soul of this team. He's the guy that the Celtics lean on for leadership, for scoring, for everything. But in that Game 1 win, Tatum went down with an injury that had every Celtics fan holding their breath. It happened late in the fourth quarter, and it was a scary moment. Tatum went up to attack the rim, as he so often does, and was fouled, but he fell hard to the floor, clutching his wrist immediately after hitting the ground. It was a moment that had the entire TD Garden holding its breath, and it wasn't just the fans who were nervous. Tatum remained on the court for a few minutes, and anyone who saw it could tell that something wasn't right. He was grimacing, holding his wrist, and you could see that he was in clear discomfort. He did stay in the game, but it was obvious that he wasn't moving the same way he typically does. After the game, it was confirmed that Tatum had injured his wrist, and that immediately raised concerns about his availability moving forward. The latest update from Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla came on Tuesday, and it didn't exactly provide all the answers that Celtics fans were hoping for. Mazzulla stated that Tatum is officially listed as day-to-day, meaning his status for Game 2 is still uncertain. The coach confirmed that Tatum has been dealing with some soreness after Game 1. And to add to the worry, Tatum wasn't seen on the court after practice on Tuesday. Now, this is a bit unusual because if you've been following Tatum's career, you know that he's the type of player who is almost always out on the floor after practice, putting up shots and working on his game. That's just what he does. But this time, Tatum wasn't out there. So, that's something that definitely raised a few eyebrows. Let's talk about Tatum's performance in Game 1 because, despite the injury, he still managed to contribute, although not to the level we're used to seeing from him. Tatum ended the game with 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block in 40 minutes of action. On paper, that's a solid stat line, right? But when you look at the shooting numbers, it's clear that Tatum wasn't quite himself. He shot just 8 of 22 from the field, which is well below his usual efficiency. The thing about Tatum is that we're used to him being able to take over games, even when things aren't going perfectly. But in this one, he didn't seem to have that same spark. It wasn't the playoff performance that Celtics fans had hoped for, but that's part of the beauty of having a deep team like Boston's. Even when Tatum isn't firing on all cylinders, others can step up. Now, let's be real. It wasn't just Tatum's scoring that was a problem in Game 1. There was also the injury concern. As mentioned earlier, Tatum wasn't at his best after the fall. He stayed in the game, but it was evident that he was playing through pain. Every time he touched the ball, it seemed like he was favoring that wrist. At times, he even winced and grabbed at it while in the middle of plays. There was a moment in the fourth quarter where, after a timeout, Tatum returned to the court with his wrist heavily wrapped, and it was clear that the injury was affecting his game. Even with the wrap, he wasn't the same dynamic player that we're used to seeing dominate on the court. After the game, Tatum made his way to the locker room, and it was evident that he was in a significant amount of pain. He wasn't walking with the usual confidence and swagger we see from him. The good news is that it doesn't appear to be a major injury that will keep him out long-term, but the Celtics have to be cautious. There's no question that Tatum is the team's best player, and if he's not able to go at full strength for the rest of the series, it could spell trouble for Boston. But if Tatum is forced to sit out or play through discomfort, the Celtics still have enough firepower to win games. They've got guys like Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and even the veterans like Al Horford who can step up and carry the load. The Celtics are deep, but there's no denying that they need Tatum to be at his best if they're going to go deep into these playoffs. As the series moves forward, the concern over Tatum's health is going to be the biggest storyline for the Celtics. We saw in Game 1 that the Magic are no pushovers. They're a young, talented team, and they're going to continue to compete hard. If Tatum is forced to miss time, or if he's playing at less than 100%, the the Celtics will need to rely on their supporting cast to step up even more. This series may look easy on paper, but injuries can change everything. And things are only going to get tougher as Boston progresses through the playoffs. So if Tatum's wrist isn't fully healed, it could be a significant problem in the later rounds. But for now, the Celtics are hoping for the best. The good news, at least for the moment, is that Tatum's injury doesn't seem to be anything too serious. It could just be a case of soreness, and with the right rest and treatment, he could be back to his usual self sooner rather than later. In the meantime, the Celtics will be looking to take care of business in Game 2. They'll have the Magic at home once again, and they'll be looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead before they head down to Orlando for Games 3 and 4. The injury to Tatum adds an element of uncertainty to the series, but Boston has the depth and experience to overcome any challenges that come their way. For now, the focus will be on getting Tatum back to full strength, and the Celtics are hoping that, come Wednesday, he'll be ready to roll. As we shift focus to the bigger picture for the Celtics, there's no denying that Jason Tatum's health is the defining factor for the team's championship aspirations. Tatum, who has consistently been Boston's best player, both on offense and defense, has to be at the top of his game for the Celtics to make a deep playoff run. With the injury looming over him, it raises some critical questions. How will this affect the team's chances, not just in the first round, but in the long term? How will the Celtics adapt to potentially playing without their superstar? Let's take a step back and look at the big picture here. The Celtics have been one of the top teams in the league all season, and Tatum has been the primary reason for their success. His ability to score from anywhere on the court, create plays for his teammates, and defend at a high level makes him one of the most well-rounded players in the NBA. His injury comes at a crucial point in the season, and while the Celtics have the depth to compete without him at full strength, there's a lot of pressure on the other players to elevate their game. Jaylen Brown, of course, will need to step up even more than usual. Brown has always been an incredible player, and in the past, he's shown that he can carry the load when needed. However, the difference now is that the stakes are higher than ever before. This isn't just another regular season game. This is the playoffs, where every game matters. Brown is capable of stepping into the role of a primary scorer, and he's done it in big moments before. But to truly carry this team, if Tatum's not 100%, Brown will have to be consistent throughout the entire series. The Celtics can't afford any lapses in his play. Beyond Brown, Marcus Smart's role becomes even more critical. As the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Smart brings so much to the table, not only with his defense, but also with his playmaking ability. If Tatum is forced to play through injury, or worse, sit out for an extended period, Smart's leadership will be invaluable. He's a floor general who knows how to direct traffic, and his ability to make plays in the clutch will be crucial for Boston. Smart also has a knack for stepping up in big moments, and if Tatum's not firing on all cylinders, Smart will need to take on an even greater offensive load. Then, of course, there's Al Horford. The veteran big man has been around for a long time, and his experience in the postseason is unmatched on the team. While he may not have the same athleticism as he did in his prime, Horford's basketball IQ and ability to impact the game in various ways make him one of the most valuable players for the Celtics. He can stretch the floor with his shooting, protect the rim, and provide leadership to the younger guys on the team. In many ways, Horford is the glue that holds this team together, and he's going to have to bring everything he's got in the coming games to help ease the burden on Tatum. The supporting cast of the Celtics is deep, but they all need to play at a high level if Tatum isn't fully healthy. Players like Derek White, Grant Williams, and Robert Williams are all capable of stepping up when their number is called, and each of them has shown flashes of brilliance at different points in the season. However, the playoffs are a different animal. The intensity ramps up, the games get tougher, and every possession matters. These role players are going to need to bring their best game night in and night out. If Tatum is limited in any way, they can't afford to have off nights. They need to be consistent and contribute in a variety of ways, whether it's knocking down open shots, playing lockdown defense, or grabbing key rebounds. The Celtics are also going to need to make some adjustments in terms of their overall game plan. If Tatum is unable to play at his usual level, or if he's sidelined for a game or two, the offense is going to need to adapt. Head coach Joe Mazzulla will have to get creative in finding ways to get easy scoring opportunities for the team. One of the keys to Boston's offense is their ball movement and their ability to create open shots. With Tatum on the court, it's easy for the Celtics to run their offense through him. But without him at full strength, they'll need to rely more heavily on team play. They may need to push the pace, create more fast break opportunities, and get others involved early on. There's also the matter of the Celtics' defense. Defense has been one of their strengths all season, and that won't change in the playoffs, but it becomes even more important when a key player like Tatum is dealing with an injury. While Tatum is a solid defender, his presence on the court allows the team to play with more freedom, knowing that he can cover a lot of ground. Without him at his best, the Celtics will need to rely even more on their team defense to make up for the loss of his individual contributions. Marcus Smart, as we know, will be the anchor of that defense, but players like Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and Robert Williams will have to elevate their efforts in guarding the opposition. If Tatum is less effective on defense due to his injury, this team will have to dig deep to make sure that they don't let teams exploit them. The good news for Boston is that they have a team that's capable of winning without Tatum being at full strength. The Celtics are a deep squad, and they've shown that they can win games even when their superstar isn't dominating. However, the real test comes in the later rounds of the playoffs. The intensity only increases as the competition gets tougher. The Celtics can get past the Magic, especially with home court advantage, but the teams they'll face in the later rounds will be much more difficult. If Tatum's wrist isn't fully healed by then, the Celtics may struggle to get through those challenges. For now, the team's focus has to be on getting through Game 2 against the Magic. This game is crucial for Boston to take control of the series and head to Orlando with a 2-0 lead. It's also a chance for Tatum to rest up and hopefully recover. With their star player banged up, the Celtics will need to play with urgency, taking care of business while making sure they don't rush Tatum back too soon. It's a delicate balance, but if the Celtics can manage the situation properly, they should be able to keep their championship hopes alive. They've got a deep team, and they've got players capable of stepping up. It's going to be an interesting next few games for Boston, but one thing's for sure, they'll fight to the very end. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Franz Wagner, one of the rising stars of the Orlando Magic, added extra fuel to the fire ahead of their upcoming matchup against the Boston Celtics. In comments that quickly made headlines, Wagner didn't hold back when discussing his thoughts on the Eastern Conference powerhouse. "They're beatable," Wagner said bluntly. "People talk about them like they're untouchable, but we don't see it that way. We've gone up against them before, and there's nothing we're afraid of." The timing of Wagner's remarks couldn't be more strategic or provocative. With the Magic battling for playoff positioning and the Celtics already locked in as one of the top seeds, the young German forward's words seemed to challenge not just Boston's reputation, but also their mentality. Wagner continued, "They're a good team, sure, but good teams lose when you punch first. That's our plan." Boston, known for using any hint of disrespect as motivation, will no doubt take note of the comments. The Celtics locker room is filled with veterans who've seen their share of trash talk, but it's not every day that such remarks come from a 22-year-old still carving out his place in the league. Wagner's confidence is a reflection of the Magic's growing belief in themselves this season. Led by Paolo Banchero and Wagner himself, Orlando has shown they're no longer just a rebuilding project. They're a team looking to make a statement. What remains to be seen is whether Wagner's bold words will spark a fiery performance on the court or backfire against a Celtics squad eager to remind the league why they're considered contenders. One thing's for certain, the stage is now set for a showdown filled with intensity, emotion, and perhaps a few grudges. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.